Well, hello there. Welcome to my channel. I'm Christine. Today is where I am, the 13th of the 3rd. It's the new moon in Pisces coming up tonight. And Pisces is all about dreamy things, and I just think just go for your dreams under this cycle because it's a new moon. And new moons are about setting intentions and the things that we want to do for the next cycle, and go for your dreams. Just do that, and what the hell. So I'm going to switch cameras here now, and I'm going to be reading our read for today with the Thompson-Liang deck. And I thought I would just read with the mages today. Now, this is quite common in France to read this way. Sometimes you can read, I mean, there's no rules really. You can read with the mages. Sometimes you can have the mages and some your courts and some aces to create like an oracle for yourself. It doesn't matter. You get a good read anyway. But I don't, for me as cards, I see the mages as cards. I don't see, when I'm reading cards, if I was reading a full deck, for me, I don't go, whoa, there's a major there, it's going to be life-shattering, because it rarely is. They're just cards. I don't attach that strong meaning to it. So I just thought I'd clear that up because I don't know, just something I've evolved over the years. One of the rituals I do like is cutting them into 3 though. That's sort of a popular thing. Yeah, I'll do that. That's better. And I'm going to read an astrology spread because it's a new moon, and I thought just pop that back there, that will fit. If you've never seen my videos before, mostly astrology spreads are done in circles. You wonder why my arm's around. I'm thinking ahead of myself all the time. But for the ease of the video, I'm going to do it as a tableau. And this is a general reading for the collective energies. So take what fits and leave what doesn't fit. The only way you get a reading about you as such, move them there, is when we get a private reading. So there we go. Okay. So last I remembered 3 4s are 12, so I'm going, well, this is my preferred method, and this is because anyone who's been following my videos, I blend other cartomancy techniques into this tableau now, if you like, pattern. But it is still on the premise of an astrology spread in the houses. So at the moment, for us and the collective energies, we have a high priestess there, and there's an atmosphere of possibly being with the new moon, strategies and plans and thoughts that we're thinking about will be successful, provided we provide the action, and we take charge, and we get very creative with that. When we look at the 12th house, what will help us with that is getting very creative, and possibly, if we're setting our intentions within reason, deciding what we're going to make a pact to ourselves, or a bond, if you like, in that context. So day-to-day finances are looking good. You could feel really, with the magician there, feeling really in charge of your finances. Yes, I've got this, I've done the banners, I'm in charge. I will take charge of it as well. I have the ability, to take charge of my finances with that. And if we look at that, there's a new phase going. So perhaps many people will consolidate what they owe if they've had to borrow or are thinking of borrow, and there'll be some reckoning with finances, taking charge of finances, consolidating what you may owe, and getting in charge so you can move into the next phase of this moon cycle with a sense of being in a sense of control. And that is not a bad space to be in, considering the way a lot of places are in the world today as the collective energies. There's a lot of disruption and uncertainty for us. We find that you can expect to hear news from friends, people that we know, like and trust with the third house. There's some good communication there. We've learned over the times since the last cycle who's supportive and who's not supportive, and we've learned about our values and what's important, and we've realised that connection is everything. So that's going to continue on for us, and having lots of conversations of positivity, because for a lot of people I'm reading for here, if you're heading into a spring, you're thinking about spring's coming, we can get out and do some things, what would be good. So the cards can be read on a very mundane level, just to sort of clear that up a little bit. Well, that's my style anyway. You get a really good sense of belonging by staying close to home and just sort of being in charge of your emotions, and possibly when the moon as the moon fluctuates for us, sorry about that, that's my dog, we start to get this sense of belonging by possibly doing some creative activities, some painting, some journaling, and possibly working with the cycles of the moon. If you've not worked with that, can be as complex or as simple as you like, and that can give us a really good sense of belonging. Then I'm going to touch on that a little bit more after the reading with that. It's interesting that that's turned up in there with us. Some of us may find that there's, as I said, we've worked out with friends who we want to connect with, who we know, like and trust, and for some of us, a lot of friends have gone through a difficult time. We've lost a lot of friends through not being able to see them and borders being closed, and with the world pandemic that we are in. And so with that, we find that there could be conflict, and as it says, it's a time of reckoning, possibly of thinking, well, this new cycle I'm going to do things differently, and I'm going to keep myself surrounded by positive people and let the other people go. However, that doesn't mean I'm not saying that in the context of disregarding good friends who've been good to us that are now fallen on hard times. We could find ourselves actually supporting them a little bit if we hear news of that. So interesting times we are living in, for sure. You find that you have this wonderful talent for under this next moon cycle, is this wonderful talent of just getting a sense of balance of what's right, what's wrong, what's true to you, and cutting out the things that have emotionally distracted you. So what I'm doing here, if you're wondering for the technique, because she is beside the moon, even though the moon was in that house, but the moon in a different context can be a bit of uncertainty. With the sword there, we're also going to be cut out what is no longer used for us, and getting that sense of balance as well. So that links in also with these two cards touching, and just does. The best way to look after yourself is have moderation, being in charge, working out a strategy with these two, and then also best way to look after our health with the angel is give ourselves time, care for ourselves, do some meditation and get into the healing pool with our mind. And also looking at her, she has that moderation going. Maybe some of us will be looking after our health, and I don't know, the first thing that snapped in my head just now is going on a health regime where we might be making some nice juices and vegetable blends and things like that, but that's just personal choice coming through like that. And also we find that what gives us special meaning was working things out and getting creative in a contained sense of containment. For many of us that used to travel a lot, because that's a card of travel, but when I look at the image, I read pictures, by the way, as well as the meanings. I just sort of blend it all together these days. But looking at her there is thinking, well, once I did this, but now we are in a phase with the ninth card, and the seventh card, and we are learning about being contained and learning to be about on our own with the seventh house there. We're probably being attracted to people who are reasonably self-sufficient, people who we have that sense of shared values of self-sufficiency with that, and someone who can just literally dance through life with us, but in a sort of independent sense, if that makes sense. Here we have, with our 8th card here, be careful of debt. If, as I said before, we're looking here, getting control of our finances, balancing our books and doing what we need to do, containing our finances. And I'm going to put another card on the Fool. Yes, we've got the Emperor on the Fool. So if you're looking for work, some of you will find extra work or a job that's to your that's going to satisfy your needs, because this is the 8th house, and that can be is often a house of debts going out, and getting that on top of that is what's going to do, which links in with our Magician of balancing the finances, and linking with her of cutting out what's not doing those sort of emotional buy things. Do you need that extra cushion for your couch type thing? You're going to become much more pragmatic in this next cycle for that. And what gives you special meaning is, some of you, I sense, under this vibration, will take up meditation and some sense of introspection of looking at yourself on a personal level, and working out where you stand in the world, what gives you purpose and what gives you meaning. And that's it's interesting to have the Hermit in the 9th house with that, because I was linking it with travel. I saw her and saw those two looking at each other, and I thought, well, once upon a time we could all escape and travel, and that was just mighty, but now we are in a sense of containment and being happy with that, and by doing that we might be taking up artistic pursuits or meditation or joining up with other like-minded people, and we are going to be shining a light on whatever debt we've got, many of us, and taking control of that with the Emperor card I put on top. That's another rule, not a rule, but a thing I have. If the Fool card comes, as I see the Fools, like a lot of times in esoteric books you'll go, the Fool is a wonderful new beginning and take the plunge and all that, and it can be that in certain contexts, but he's also an idiot. And if you've been foolishly spending on impulse buys and things and gotten into a little bit of debt, there's a light getting shined on that for a lot of people. I know millions of people that are getting money cut off in the next week or so, and also in our country, and as a result of that, businesses who have been keeping them on a stimulus that we had to keep people in their jobs is getting cut off, and they will be giving people notice this week, and those people will be all of a sudden looking, and that's over a couple of million people in this country, so that energetically could be happening around the world. Because I find, for me, when I look at the news, I think things are only happening here, but I find there's often governments behaving the same everywhere. So I'm sort of picking up on that energy with that. So with our plans and strategies and making things work for us, we also quickly look to the 10th house, which is our career. And if you're looking for work, an opportunity comes to you, network. I see decisions getting made about your career. I also see needing to then, if you are making a career move, you'll be working all through your networks and things to sort of who you can take with you, or references and things like that. So I'm seeing a lot of talking and decisions making around for a lot of people with the career. I've also seen career decisions getting made, which links in touching the debt card here for a lot of people, which I touched on briefly. Expect some friends to be going through some difficulties as decisions that are getting made in their workplace. With that, on an energetic level, for not everyone will have a soft landing. Some may have a soft landing with that. So let's all give our hopes and thoughts and prayers to people if they have found that the stimulus has been turned off and they are all of a sudden given notice this week on a mass scale. Thoughts and prayers go out to those people. And what you can draw strength from is knowing with the devil there that you've got to be sharp and disciplined, and draw strength from knowing where your weaknesses are, knowing your blind spots, and being in charge of them. Because through plans, strategies, cutting out what you don't need, and through you being in charge and being aware of your blind spots, this all happens very well for us, and we are in charge of our week. So there is our generalized reading for the week. I'll give you a minute to have a little look at that if you're going to screenshot it. What I thought I'd do now is, because I've been talking about the moon cycles, was I've been reviewing this, and there's nothing wrong with working with what the moon is each day. I mean, I have a moon calendar over there that my son gives me every year, and I often look what it's in, and it's really good for planting and gardening and things like that, working with the moon cycles. And if you have certain meetings and things like that, I don't dismiss that in one sense. But if you're getting busy and it's all getting out of hand, it can be quite simple, even to start with, is to just move with the new moon, which is where we set our intentions and what we are doing and what we want over the next cycle. So that way we're working at our plan. We can have an overall big year plan, but we also might be looking, well, this month, what do I do to move me in the direction that I want to go towards what I want to do? Or you may have something completely new right out of the box, and that's great too. Doesn't matter where you are on the wheel of life as long as you are moving. However, if you just look at the new moon as starts and beginnings and settings your intentions, and then you look at the full moon of doing a review on that, and when the full moon comes I will talk about that more, and a check-in is where am I up to with this monthly goal I've set, then it works, and then letting go what's not working and focusing on what does work. So I haven't complicated things with that. So I'm going to gather these cards up now, and I'm going to just do a quick little moon spread that you may like. And what we can ask is, as a collective energies, patience, especially with the Pisces. The moon in Pisces at the moment, go for our dreams, but make sure we are aware that things take time, and that awareness is important. And what I'm going to look at with this is, what lessons have we learned in the past moon cycle? What are we invited to focus on in this new cycle? And how can we find alignment in this new cycle? So as a collective, the cards are saying that we have learnt the lessons of containment. We've learnt the lessons of understanding that things change, and that we can move through one cycle to the next. When I look at that card in that context to what we've been saying, if we're invited with the hangman of what we are invited to focus on, maybe we just need that time out. Maybe we need to look at what we're focusing on from that other angle, get our plan, turn it round, turn it upside down, and then with focus, what's one little thing we can do today to, if we're feeling frustrated because what we're intentions aren't working for us, what's one thing we can do to wiggle out of that sort of sense of stagnation with everything traveling along the way we want it to. And then we finally have the magician, whereas we can, how can we find alignment in this new cycle of the moon? And with the magician is, we know that we have tools. We know what we want. We know that we can be in charge of our energy, and we have the ability to align ourselves. Yes, I can do this. One thing at a time, I can do it. And I have all the tools that I need. And if I don't, the tools the universe will provide for us with that. So that's a quick little read you can do and put it in your journal. And I'd love to hear what you found. If you decided to do that, I'd love you to share what come up for you, and I'd love to read your comments. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and I'd like to thank you for watching the video. I look forward to seeing you on the next video, and stay happy and healthy, and bye for now.